Hello everyone, and welcome to my classic Season of Discovery Hunter leveling guide. In this guide, I'll talk about different tips and tricks, the talent trees I like to level with, how I will gear up as I'm also gaining a ton of experience, and last but not least, the best race for each individual faction. So as a hunter, you can level up as 3 different specializations: Survival, Marksman, and Beastmaster. I'll show my builds for all the different specializations, beginning with Beast Mastery, as this is what I prefer to level up as. In the first row, you can either choose to increase the health of your pet, but what I always go with is the other one. So whenever I shoot a normal ranged attack, there's a 5% chance that I will also increase my ranged attack speed by 30% for 12 seconds. In the next row, I never spend points into Eyes of the Beast or Aspect of the Monkey. These two won't benefit your killing speed, and you shouldn't be the one tanking the enemies. You should be shooting at range. Instead, it's way better to spend points into Thick Hide and Revive Pet. Whatever you choose first doesn't really matter. I just always go with Thick Hide and then improving my Revive Pet. In the next row, we have 3 really good options. Either to increase the damage done by our pet, to increase their outdoor movement speed by 30%, or increase the speed bonus of our Aspect of the Cheetah and Aspect of the Pack. This I always max out first, so I can travel around a bit faster, but increasing your pet's outdoor movement speed will also be huge. However, all 3 talents are quite good, so just choose whatever you prefer the most. Or you could try something else to play as a marksmanship. In the first row, I never spend points into improving my concussive shot. Instead, I would rather like to be more efficient and spend points into efficiency to reduce the mana cost of my shots and stings by 10%. This allows me to not have to regen as often. In the next row, I would then spend 5 points into lethal shots to increase my critical strike chance by 5%. This is way better than increasing the attack power provided by your Hunter's Mark, also because then you need to make sure you always apply this. And now we can also finally spend a point into Aim Shot, a 3 seconds cast that deals a high amount of range damage. So nice when you need to burst down a target. But I never spent any points into improving my Arcane Shot. I feel like you spend way too many points just to reduce the cooldown by 1 minute. So instead of spending points into this, then I would much rather like to increase the range of all my attacks, or maybe even improving my Hunter's Mark. The last specialization you could also choose is Survival. This is where you'll do more damage with your melee abilities and traps. In the first row, I never spent any points into improving my parry. Instead, I would much rather like to spend points either into monster slaying or humanoid slaying. What I usually do is to spend 3 points into monster slaying and then 2 points into humanoid slaying to unlock the next row. In the next row, I don't want to spend any points into entrapment. This won't benefit my leveling at all, so not increase the damage of any spells. Therefore, I would much rather like to either spend points into Savage Strikes to increase my critical strike chance of Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite, or even improve my Wing Clip, so when the enemies get close to me, then I can use this and have a high chance to immobilize them, so I have enough time to make some distance and continue shooting. Now we can finally unlock our deterrence that increases our dodge and parry chance by 25% for 10 seconds, useful when you fight a difficult target. I never spent any points into improving my health, because I shouldn't be the one tanking the enemies. So it's way better to spend points into Clever Traps, so your Fire Traps deals an additional 30% damage, but the duration of your CC also lasts longer on your Freezing Trap. And the remaining points I'll then spend into Savage Strikes and get to level 25, where I would most likely respec into something else that might be more useful for raiding. But who knows, maybe Survival might even be good as well. Next up is some useful tips and tricks that I like to use whenever I'm leveling up, but also at max level. As a hunter, you unlock different aspects, but instead of having to press different key bindings to activate these, then you can also make a cast sequence macro. So if I have 2 favorite aspects, then I just add them into the macro, and whenever I'm in one of these, then the other one will appear on the icon. So the current icon on your action bar will also be the aspect you swap to if you press the keybind. In classic Season of Discovery, weapon training will still be a thing, so you need to level up your weapon skills. And a quick way to do this is just to spam your Wing Clip, an instant attack that doesn't require that much mana, but because it's instant, then it also allows you to level up your weapon skill a lot quicker. At level 14, you unlock Eyes of the Beast. This is where you can control your pet and see it from their perspective. This can be so nice in case there's a ton of enemies and you would only like to just pull one specific one. Once you have pulled it, you will just move your pet back to your position and you can now take care of it without having to deal with all the other ones. Another useful low level spell is Eagle Eye, where you can pretty much scout an area. But the thing is that you can only use this spell once, then you will be taken back to your original location. But this can easily be changed with a macro. Type/cast !Eagle Eye. What you can now do is to scout all over the place. You press it once, you will be taken to an area, and when you press it once again, you can just continue scouting without being taken back to your hunter's location. So this is so useful if you need to track down a player from the opposite faction or maybe even a specific enemy. An efficient way to level up is to make sure you do dungeons so you gain a ton of experience, and of course also many different green and blue items at the same time. And don't forget to also pick up all the specific dungeon quests that rewards a lot of experience and many useful items. How you obtain these quests is something I'll be talking about later in the video. But the first dungeon I will attend is going to be Dead Mines. In Dead Mines, you can obtain this ring with agility and intellect, and not to forget the Defier's armor, Cape of Brotherhood, yeah, even Cruel Barb. And what you might notice about this sword is that it's not unique, so you can even equip 2 of these. If you still haven't obtained a decent range weapon, then I would highly recommend you to head into the dungeon Wailing Cairns in Barrens. Here there's a chance that you can get the Venom Strike. In the dungeon, you can also get many other useful items, for example, the Fang set, and even a new cloak. Next, you should head into Shadowfang Keep, and some of these cloth items are honestly not too bad. They provide a ton of intellect and even some agility, which is good stats for a hunter. Or well, every item is a hunter item, right? So what race should you be playing? If you decide to go with Alliance, you have 2 options, either to play a Night Elf or a Dwarf. As a Dwarf, you benefit from Stormform that increases your armor by 10% and also grants you immunity to any poisons, bleed or disease effects for 8 seconds. And you also gain gun specialization, so you have a higher chance to hit when you equip a gun. The base agility you start with as a Night Elf is way higher compared to a Dwarf. And a big benefit is that you also get Shadow Melt, where you'll pretty much turn stealth. As long as you don't move, attack or do anything, then you will also remain hidden. The moment you do any of this, you will once again be out normally. You sadly can't use this while you're in combat, but the insane thing is that it only has a 10 seconds cooldown, so whenever you kill an enemy, you can once again hide. So useful if you also like to PvP. And you of course also get quickness that passively increases your dodge chance by 1%. As Horde, you have 3 different options. Orc with hardiness that increases your stun resistance by 25%, but you also get Command that increases the damage done by your pet by 5%. And on top of this, also Blood Fury that increases your melee attack power by 25% for 15 seconds. So in my opinion, Orc will definitely be useful, also because of X specialization. So when you combine these 2 together, then you have an amazing race if you plan to play as a melee hunter. 5% more damage with your pet will help you no matter what specialization, and hardiness is just so insane in PvP. However, if you don't plan to PvP or play as a melee hunter, then Troll might be way better. Beast Slaying that increases the damage you do versus Beast by 5%, but also Berserkering that increasing your casting and attack speed by 10 and all the way up to 30%. This all depends on your current health as you activate this. We also gain Bow Specialization that increases your chance to hit with your bow. And like it wasn't enough, Regeneration that increases your health regeneration by 10%, and 10% of your total health regeneration will also continue while you're in combat. The third option being Tauren. War Stomp, which is a 0.5 seconds cast that will stun up to 5 enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds. This can be useful to get some distance. Endurance that increases your total health by 5%, and Cultivation that increases your herbalism skill by 15. Overall, I don't really like Tauren that much. Yeah, War Stomp can be useful if you need to escape, but Endurance, yeah, 5% more health isn't that big of a deal. You're not going to tank anyway. Therefore, I would also prefer to play Orc or Troll as a Horde hunter. So like I mentioned earlier, it will be important to do the different dungeon quests to gain more experience, but also amazing loot as you're leveling up. But the thing is that some of these will also require you to travel around or do different pre-quests before you can acquire them. Therefore, I use an add-on to make sure I do all the necessary things. The name of this add-on is Rested Experience, and there's a free trial version you can download right now by using the link below the video. It also comes with a leveling guide, just in case you don't know how to level. And of course, a full version you can also purchase with a lot of other features. For example, in the future, how to acquire your most important rooms at level 25. If you wish to get the full version, you can even get a discount by using the link and of course also applying my discount code GUIDEMMO. But the main reason why I mentioned the add-on was simply just so you knew where to pick up the different dungeon quests, what pre-quests you might also need to do, so you can plan all of this in your level 1 to 25 route. If you're mainly interested in classic Season of Discovery, then on my channel you can find a ton of different videos, and soon also a lot more, for example tips and tricks, gold making, and even leveling guides. So if you're interested in that kind of content, then I would highly recommend you to also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time I post a video.